How do we believe organizations will adopt AI responsibly and with high productivity gain? They have to offer environments which address the talent gap and which allow us to cover the AI and data analytics lifecycle in one integrated platform. There's always this balance for organizations, how they can cope with this new technology and its challenges and opportunities, and at the same time ensure that they deliver trustworthy and ethical results. There are three key areas which need to be considered when we are talking about implementing AI. And the three areas are data management, model management and development, and then the model maintenance. Each new and evolving technology has risks. So in order to allow people to trust the output of the models more and to accept the fact that some of the results they are receiving were generated by a computing environment, we need to work as an industry on very transparent, explainable systems which allow people to fully understand not only, what is the system telling me, but also why is it telling me a certain answer. And that, allows us not only to foster the trust of people using these AI systems, but it also allows us to deal with questions like, is there implicit bias in the data? Is there implicit bias in the model? And also to consider things like risk. Organizations need to build, train, and test models. But at the same time, they are faced with a growing amount of regulations. For them, the question is, how can I build these models and still comply to the regulations which are introduced for many good reasons? This is where synthetic data can help. With synthetic data, you can start to mask, the concerns which the regulators had in mind, and you can basically start to use information which is less sensitive to still build models which are useful to deal with your business questions at hand. There's a lot of opportunity, for both technical and non-technical roles if we have the opportunity to use a standardized, consistent platform which provides access to functionality to everyone. Cloud services allow us to improve the infrastructure challenges and provide a centralized platform for collaboration between teams. People want to use their programming languages of choice. So the key is that we don't impose any restrictions on our user base on which language they should be using for doing their analysis. The market continues to evolve in order to support various roles, and that can be commercial and non-commercial approaches like open source, which offer the flexibility to provide access to this functionality at a fairly low cost. Commercial offerings, on the other side, they are more concerned with flexibility for both non-technical and technical audiences. So we can basically provide them with an ecosystem which allows everyone in the organization to contribute to the success of AI projects and provide them with access to the functionality which they need, while they still have a centralized system which takes care of integration, performance, and other questions. One of the industries which have a growing desire of applying AI and models in their life cycles is the healthcare industry. Finding new drugs, developing new drugs is not an easy task. So by using AI, they are now hoping to analyze previous experiments in order to speed up the drug development process and maybe even use information to deal with questions they haven't been dealing with. For example, when COVID hit the streets, nobody really knew how to cope with COVID because it was new to not only us as a society, but also for the pharma industry. So in order to develop those drugs faster, they applied machine learning and AI techniques. Now it also puts them in a situation when the next disease comes around, they already have some idea on how can they use historic information to develop drugs which will help us as a society much faster. Providing organizations with one platform allows them to improve the collaboration between different roles, such as data engineers, the data scientists, the MLOps engineers, and eventually the business analysts. Based on that, data and AI teams will work smarter and more productive with trusted outcomes.